Call the Plan Commission to order, and I will ask staff to take a quick roll call.
I've got the sheet here. Thanks. Mayor Devine.
Here.
Okay, Wayne Clark.
Yes.
Kathleen Degenhardt.
Yes.
Brian Frank.
Here.
David Roshka.
Here.
Eric Dorkelson is excused, and Jessica Katzmeyer not here. Okay. And then Brandon Ranke.
Here.
And Lisa Coons is not here either, so excused. So we've got 6 present, and we have a quorum.
All right. Then our next item will be approval of the minutes from our meeting in January.
Second.
I think I have a motion and a second. If there are no corrections or changes, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. We will move on to section D, and we'll take up item 2, and I will turn it over to staff.
Thanks, Mayor. Attorney John Fuchs and Mike Wolf are here representing the ownership of 9422 through 30 West National Avenue. It also happens to be the same ownership as the Heartbreakers building to the west. Recently, they were fairly recently separate owners, but now they're one combined ownership of the property. So the proposal here is to demolish this, it's about a 7,000 square foot building, constructed I think in the 1940s, late 40s, and the site consists of primarily, for the most part, all building, and there's a small parking lot here that'll be redone. But this building is going to be, the first step is to remove this building. It's sort of an older, obsolete building, and Heartbreakers wants to sort of consolidate, add some additional parking to help accessorize their use. They're currently, I think they have a lease with Humane Society across the street, and for whatever reason that's for safety reasons and maybe just for the sake of controlling what they have under their ownership to consolidate parking on their property. And this, let me just go back, this is just sort of a bigger view of the neighborhood. You've got, residential obviously to the north and west, and then commercial along National Avenue. Lincoln Avenue is the major intersection just to the southwest. And so here's just a different bird's eye view looking down at the building. This is the building that's going to be demolished. There's a residential home to the north. And I know that's been some concern over the years. There was a prior proposal back in 2019 to demolish this building. The owner just didn't have the money at the time, so the project just stopped, even though they had the approvals at the time. But the neighbor has always been concerned about, gee, if you tear this building down, you start the soil erodes, and my garage, part of my driveway is going to fall off into the site next door. The plans that have been submitted, and I guess our understanding going forward is that there are going to be an interim retaining wall as well as a more permanent retaining wall that comes as part of a phase 2, and we'll get into that next. But this plan just shows the demolition of the building, and then back here there you can see some existing site features, an existing retaining wall here on the site, and then the building is actually helping retain some of this grade difference between the residential property here and the 9422 property here. So when that building goes away, there's an interim plan to install a interim retaining wall, and that'll be 2 by 2 by 4 blocks, these heavy blocks that you see sometimes on construction sites to shore up earth in a temporary manner. And then once the site is stabilized and the new parking lot goes in and that starts to work, at the same time they'll be putting in a more permanent retaining wall along this side. So here's a look at the site plan. One of the differences in the site plan is that the retaining wall was initially shown up here along the very north property line. Since that time, the plan is going to be amended. We'll be getting a revised plan, but essentially just keeping the same amount of earth here and not putting in these stalls. So in other words, the new retaining wall will be down in this location here. And some of these landscape islands will have to be amended, but the new retaining wall will be here, and then marry back up where it comes back into the normal grade here between the two sites. And then a new fence, 6-foot high fence, would be installed here, and then also along the east side of the property. The refuse enclosure would be relocated from here over to here, and is also screened within a 6-foot-high wood fence. Along the frontage of the property, there's a proposed landscape area and a landscape island within the site. This is just sort of a view of that retaining wall and fence back here along the north side. It's shown at about 2.5 feet tall, but that'll probably change as revised plans come in. It may vary in the height. Obviously, with this earth being kept here in this location, that's going to help further secure and shore up that property to the north, and it won't bear as much. The earth will more or less bear most of the load, and the retaining wall will do the rest down here. And then that's the location of the future permanent retaining wall. And this is the interim wall that would be installed as the building's coming down, as this wall and this part of the building goes away. Those large 2x2x4 blocks would be installed here. Again, just to sort of, so we don't compromise anything over here on the residential side and lose anything to erosion or load. Let me just go back one too. This might help. This is the garage to the north, and that garage is about 4 feet. The wall, this is the overhang that's shown here, but the wall of the garage is about 4 to 6 feet north of the property line. And then here's the existing retaining wall that will eventually be replaced with a permanent wall. And when the building goes away, that interim wall will go in right here, and then the permanent wall will also come across in this area to take the place of what the building is doing right now. But there will also be this earth in between the new wall and the property line, again, just to sort of further stabilize that site. So the revised plans that we'll be getting as a condition of approval will be better at, I think, alleviating some of the concerns of the property owner to the north and further stabilizing the site for the future parking lot. And then just a closer view, what we're looking at here in the bottom is a detailed view of this landscaping island along National Avenue. It features a decorative wall in the backdrop, and then the landscaping, some ornamental trees and perennials and shrubs up in front, and then a small terrace of grass in front of the landscaping area, and then the sidewalk is here. There'll also be a cut-through from the parking lot out to the public right-of-way. So if you park here or anywhere within this lot, you could walk out and then out to the sidewalk and into the main entrance of the business. The wall will be a brick, masonry style of brick wall with piers and ornamental fence along National Avenue. And then this is the variety of landscaping that was shown. And it's about 10% landscaping of the overall site. Or probably a little bit more with this added back in. And then when this building goes away, there'll be a stain on the east side of this wall. But the idea is to, where you take this building, I think there is a little bit of a gap between the two buildings. So this will be evaluated at that point, and the idea is to sort of clean it up and, if necessary, reinstall brick to match on this east wall of the Heartbreakers building. Just sort of a rendered view of the future parking lot area from looking north from National. There are some wall packs, lights shown on the east elevation. Here's the fence in the back, retaining wall. So we're recommending approval, subject to the conditions in the staff report, I think on page 3 of your staff report, but 1 through 3, so we're breaking this up into 2 parts. The first part, the biggest priority is to start demoing the building. We're asking for an estimated cost, a surety bond or a letter of credit, revised retaining wall plans just to sort of work out some clarifications on the plan and just show if we need more in details on the interim wall to have that shown. And then also the timing of when between the interim and then the permanent wall is going to happen. We want to get that detailed. Other than that, once the building is down and the site's stabilized, before the parking lot can commence, The two properties, which are separate right now, the Heartbreakers property and the 9422 property, will need to be combined into one lot of record. It does have common ownership now, so that clears the way and makes that easier to combine them via certified survey map. That will require council approval. And then we just wanted to get, our city engineering department and planning department wanted to get a little bit more information on the structural capacity of the new retaining wall. And I think a lot of those concerns have been somewhat alleviated, but we're still asking for the structural integrity of the wall. And then drainage needs to be explained, and then just clarifying some of the other details shown on the plan, just for a better understanding and comfort level of next steps going forward before the parking lot goes in. And then this last, item 6 is just in terms of the site plan itself. We want to, we're recommending a right turn in and right turn out from National Avenue. We really don't want left turns out of that new parking lot area or left turns into it. National Avenue, while there's been some major improvements to that for safety and aesthetic, it's still somewhat of a dangerous move to make that left turn movement. So right turn in, right turn out is the recommendation of the city engineer and city and planning department. So there may need to be some driveway modifications, or at least some covered signage and stuff to just sort of make sure that's that's safe. And then just confirming pervious surface materials. This actually has been taken care of. There is a grass area that's along the strip in front of that landscape bed. It is proposed to be grass, so item C here has been taken care of. Other than that, it's pretty much just standard stuff. Hitting the driveway or street excavation permit from our city engineering department, and just clarifying the catch basin that's on that in the parking lot just east of the building that's going to be demoed. Needs to be sized properly, and I know Mike's been taking a look at that catch basin right now, and he's looking at trying to get the right size lateral into it, so that'll be taken care of. But it's just a standard referenced item on this for approval. So we recommend approval of items 1, of the demo and of the future parking lots, subject to pages 3 and 4 of your staff report, which are shown here. Thanks. Any questions? And we can open up the discussion if needed.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Steve, go back to either maybe the second slide you had.
Sure.
No,
Is it this one?
no.
That one?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, sure.
What is, this is outside, this is to the east of the subject property. What are all those cars in the lower section of that slide?
Oh, that's the next door neighbor here at 9400 National.
I mean, what is that?
That's the auto body shop.
Is that Concours? Or is that?
No, this one is,
other way.
it used to be Besson Auto Body, and
Yeah.
now it's something else. It's a new owner, new operator, and yeah, they have, it's been a thorn, I think, in the side of our code enforcement department and planning department for years. I mean, I'm not sure that, now that picture here could be a bit dated, but
It still looks like it.
it's probably close to it. Maybe a few more cars, maybe a few less.
Looks like
About the same.
it looks like a city junkyard.
Yeah.
And that's towing.
Yeah.
Towing would not be an acceptable condition of approvals.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions, Brian?
Any addition, like for lighting or anything like that, as you're expanding then out?
You guys have,
It's gonna be added to
Light.
the new plans.
all right.
And it'll obviously not splay over to the property shown there. It'll be contained.
Most likely it'll be added to the building, kind of like what he showed us, probably gonna be the best way to do it. He showed on
I
that.
think there was some,
On the top?
No.
where were they here? Further down, I think.
Right there.
Some, yeah, one here and one there.
Okay.
Try to get
One on
those
the backside too, so
yeah.
it cuts the other parking lot.
It'll be, I mean, it is, it's really important to make sure you keep those
Display.
downward as best possible. We've received lots of lighting complaints on some new projects, and especially with the neighbor to the north being up a little higher, so some of their windows may actually be over the top of that new fence that's going in back here. So especially in the back, to try to get those lights directed downward as best possible. I know you've got to provide safety for your customers coming in and out of the place, but at the same time, it would be respect to the neighborhood too.
Any other questions?
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah, Alderman Rowe?
I know full well I'm not the alderman that, excuse me, but I started out on that project. Are the Wishmans aware of what's going on? I mean, I know they know, but have they seen this? They're the immediate to the north. They're the garage that's gonna fall into the parking lot.
No, I stopped and tried to talk to them, just like I tried talking to the auto body people, it was like nobody's ever around. And the auto body guy, they gave me a phone number, and it's like a guy that owns it, it's a new owner, and then he leases it to these other Mexican guys that are there, whatever, and I've left messages, I've texted them, they got nothing.
I think, is that now the 3rd district then, or?
Right, but I
Okay.
just,
I know
I
Suzette.
started out with this project and
Sure.
Oh.
I know Suzette Grisham, Alderwoman Grisham has been, has contacted me, and I believe she's been in contact with the neighbors to the north.
okay.
I'd be happy to reach out to them and share the, staff report with them, and, but, that is, I mean, it's a residential property, and I think the measures that are being taken here are, it's gonna be a little bit more solid ground, so to speak, with
Yeah.
respect to not removing all that grade, and actually having a little bit more buffer before the retaining wall starts, so I think that's really gonna help solve a lot of their concerns.
And then, if I may, that wall around the parking lot, is that to be weeping mortar as well?
Let's see
What do
which,
you mean?
You don't know what I'm talking about. Weeping mortar, where it oozes out of the joints, like the building,
Oh, gotcha.
so you don't know what it, you don't know.
The
on the-
wall will be a brand new wall. You're
I'm
talking
sorry,
about
what?
in front? You're talking about the landscaping in the front?
Yeah, the one, that little, that, was that
Oh,
20
this one.
feet?
oh, he's saying on the Heartbreakers building itself, it has a unique
Yeah,
style
are you
of
doing it to match?
mortar
Is that-
joint.
That's what the
Yeah.
whole goal was, the match is the being over there, but that
Okay, so
eventually
we'll-
has to be redone.
Okay,
You're talking on the 95th side.
yes, and then the parking lot has that weeping mortar coming out of the brick and everything like that.
Yeah, because that first pole got hit by a car, so
It's,
the proposal is to eventually redo that whole entire.
It's the way they
building.
did the Heartbreakers building, it's kind of like this.
He was on top of
The
one
mortar
right
is
in the
actually-
corner,
Yeah.
and that one was hit.
How tuck pointing is usually smooth
Yeah.
in the
It
joints, and this,
leaks
the
out
mortar is
the
actually
cracks out
kind
of
of
the
like
mortar joints. It's-
coming out. They never strike it.
Things you learn in planning.
Yeah, there we go, like this.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I don't know, I mean, if that's
Never knew
No,
that.
no,
was
I-
called
what you
I
want to
don't
do
have a
here or
problem, I
not,
just
but I
was
mean,
questioning.
yeah. It's, I guess we don't have to
No,
repeat
understood.
what was done
Understood.
40, 50 years ago. We can maybe just do a new looking wall that's complementary in color maybe, or something like that, but yeah.
Steve, could you go back to the current image?
Oh, sure.
There.
Oop, that one, yeah.
Yeah. I know at Heartbreakers there's not a lot of landscaping opportunity, but looks like there's better maintenance opportunities at this new plan than there is right there.
I think so, yeah.
Has the whole parcel been kept up and we haven't had complaints about their landscaping? It's been whatever's
Really
supposed to
not
be.
much there.
Yeah, it's just some
Literally,
potted
you'll see
things,
the little
right?
shrubs, there's a couple spireas in the front, but pretty much you piled up with snow, whatever, so there's a couple of spireas and then some hostas in there, that's about it.
Okay.
But it's that little square, I see right underneath that first arched window.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
all
yeah,
there is
these,
along there.
yeah.
There's little squares, 2x2 squares.
Okay. And then
It had some like rotted granite in there for a little while, but it's like everybody throws their cigarette butts and everything else in there.
what about the turn out of the parking lot? Is there going to be any island or anything to prevent people from turning left?
Well, I
But
mean,
that's what we're trying to reconstruct as I talked to
The
you.
driveway?
He wants to.
We're gonna
have
talk-
No left turn sign and all that kind of stuff up there, but yeah, I'll have to
Okay.
do some reconstruction.
talk to the city engineering to see if there's maybe something that can be done when they reconstruct this drive. Maybe there's, I don't know if there's a little, for lack of a better word, like a little bump or
Island or
something in here just to sort of,
Because the new parking
Prevent
lot's,
that.
gonna have curb and gutter on the outside anyways.
Yeah.
So that's why they're doing the curb there and the curb in the front, they can put a left turn or a right turn curb on there.
I just think trying to turn left there with being so close to Lincoln and National is pretty dangerous. Any other questions? Any motion?
I move to approve with
Conditions?
call the conditions.
I'll second.
Conditions.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
I
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
think it'll look a lot better than
Yep.
what that building looks like right now. No matter what, you know. So it's.
Mr. Mayor? Regarding the issue about the turning, Isn't that something
Yeah, that's
that maybe
true.
working with the city engineer, they could consider doing something like was done in Cleveland?
That's good.
That's what I was thinking. A
And do it,
possible island
yeah,
extension.
do it ahead of time rather than wait for an accident.
Oh, you're thinking within the street median itself?
Yeah, like on Cleveland, west of Highway 100. Seems to me that, I mean, that's certainly a barricade. You can't get around that.
Yeah, that takes no prisoners.
That part of National in front of Heartbreakers, it has been done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it go all the way east though? I'm trying to think
It goes-
how far it goes.
well,
that little island.
I know Lincoln Avenue is going to be redone, but that part of National may have already been taken care of. And I mean, we can.
We'll see. As long as it's
We're
in
going
the
to be talking to
discussion.
city engineering about that
What if
anyway.
you just put some of those little orange permanent things in there too?
Yeah, I mean, just want to make sure it doesn't end up creating more work for our DPW department to pick them up
Oh.
every time a
Yeah.
plow comes through or a car wipes them out. But yeah,
You do
Just
a
as long as it's in the discussion, that sounds
Yeah.
good.
couple of wheel spikes, so if they take the wrong. I can only do a few times. So everybody will stop.
That'll learn them.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 3.
thanks. Yeah.
Turn it over to Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a proposal for Lucky 7 Daily Food Pantry on 92nd and Lincoln. They are proposing a monument sign on the northwest corner of this parcel. This proposal is just for the. It's located within the Vision Triangle, which is currently within our zoning code. It's considered an obstruction, so our engineering department had to review this as part of the permit process for this sign permit, and they are required to go before Plan Commission as well. There has been a precedent set by previous Plan Commission meetings where such signage has been approved by the Plan Commission as long as it conforms with our sign code and then also with the engineering approval. City engineering, since the staff report was released, they did approve the location of the vision of the sign within the vision angle. And with that being said, there are additional conditions that staff are considering, such as removing non-conforming signage along the western wall and then on the property in general, and then submitting a landscaping plan. But with that being said, staff are recommending approval. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions?
So, I'm sorry. It was at a point, so when you're turning, you can't see it?
So it's at a point, so right here, when you're going either from north on 92nd Street or west on Lincoln, it is in a point where you don't have full view of the vision angle, but the way the sign is placed and angled, it conforms with our safety guidelines per the engineering department.
So is it gonna be angled like,
Yeah, I think
So-
they'll flip it, right?
Yeah, they'll flip it for this. It's kind of
Kind of like the back.
it's kind of hard to see, but the yellow is the vision triangle, and then the red is the sign. But they're gonna have to flip the sign to conform with our engineering department's
so, yeah, they don't.
guidelines.
They'll
Yeah,
just they'll
80,
take that
180
sign.
or
yeah, 180.
Mirror it,
Whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they adding height to that sign that's currently there with this or not?
They're removing the current sign and then replacing this with a with the signage. It's just a basic mock-up of the signage. They'll have further graphics, but that can be approved at staff level, and the signage conforms with all our zoning code requirements. It's a like-for-like copy of the sign on 92nd and Lincoln, or 92nd and Cleveland, which was approved last year by Plan Commission.
So that's not the actual sign.
This is not the actual sign. Staff has the ability to control the aesthetic design of that further. So
The Bauer, just, I guess they're gonna be working with the owner on the graphics, to present to staff for approval. And I think there's also, the other thing too, of just Jack mentioned the sign on 92nd and Lincoln. The one thing on that sign too that, we can advise the sign contractor to add is, like, in between each of these cabinets, like from this part here, so here and here, you can actually have like little reveals added here and here, and it just sort of helps better articulate some of the scale here, so it doesn't look like just a giant rectangle. The other thing that we could have Bauer do is maybe just add a small little cap feature on the top, just to sort of, kind of like this, like this right here, this sill, and then just add it to the top. So those are the kinds of things that, you know, we're here for the appeal mainly, but I mean, those are the kinds of design things that, you know, we'll be working on with the contractor on the actual aesthetic.
And he responded to us saying that they'll be able to conform with our request, whether it's getting a better design or just a new design in general. This is just for the location of the signage.
And it is 92nd and Lincoln, so we want it to look nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Thank you. This appeal is because we rejected this very sign earlier?
No, this appeal is because, so they have a current sign, but it's a bit smaller and outdated for what the applicant and the property owner would like on the site. So they're proposing a new sign, and because that sign is within this vision triangle within our code, they're required to go before Plan Commission just to appeal that location, as long as engineering is deeming that location acceptable.
And the existing sign that is to be removed, where is that?
That is
one of those.
It's about right here. It's not diagonal. It's
Okay.
Well, there's another one. I think there's another one too on the north.
yeah.
What is that? North.
Both of those will come down?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there is no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Move on to item 4.
Thanks, Mayor. Our next item is a certified survey map for Michael's restaurant property. The Michael's restaurant property is here, and then back in was that December or January? I think it was December. They were here before the Planning Commission is seeking conditional use approval for a food truck park that looks like this on this corner over here. This is owned by the same owners as Michael's. The food truck park is actually 2 properties. It looks like one parking lot with a garage on it, but there's actually 2 parcels. There's a parcel with some parking and a garage, and then another parcel with just parking on it. But once consolidated via CSM, it would set the stage for just one property upon which they would add onto the garage for ADA men and women's bathrooms, an expanded tavern area, converting the garage to a tavern for the food truck park, and then building out the outdoor patio area and then space for the food trucks.
I'd move approval.
Second.
Thank you. If we could, just approval subject to technical corrections on we've got to take that to common council again too, so subject to technical corrections and common council approval. Thank you.
Sure.
What he said.
Thank you.
All right, on that verbally amended motion, there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, and then we'll move on to item 5.
Thanks. So over the past year, we've been talking about a comprehensive plan, and the final draft version is out there for public consumption for everyone to review and comment on. I want to thank Jack and our former lead planner Zach Roeder on their efforts and the massive public engagement that has been done over the past close to a year. Just going out to farmers markets, to community events, different opportunities to engage with the citizens and stakeholders and get feedback. And we've shaped that into a final draft of the comprehensive plan. We hope to have approved tonight by the City Planning Commission. That approval is then referred forward to the Common Council, a public hearing on March 19th for council action. And the big ideas, as we've talked about before, to grow West Allis, another 5,000 housing units. We want to get back to 70,000 population for starters. We're at about 60,000 now. We want to get back to that 1970 level of West Allis population of 70,000 people. And we can do that by adding more housing units, more jobs, and And there's other opportunities, I think, that are identified within the plan to help get us there. But these are some of the other things in addition to growing West Allis's population, different types of housing, quality housing, affordable housing, with choices for people that are interested in West Allis, whether you've been a longtime resident here and you want to age in place, or whether you're someone completely new that wants to give West Allis a try. We want a little bit of something for everybody. And then safer streets are a big component of this. We all drive, we all get out and walk, but having different opportunities for multimodal transportation, whether it's on the public transportation, maybe introducing bus rapid transit to the city, just making it more convenient, expanding Bubbler bike share, maybe considering other mobility transportation options out there like the scooters. So those types of things are things we see a place for possibly in the city. And then just creating more vibrant spaces and investing in parks and green space. And part of that vibrant space for community life are things like what Kegel's did on 59th and National, between Greenfield and National. Also, something that more recently the city has conducted on 72nd, just north of Greenfield, with a pedestrian mall. There's opportunities like that out there that, you know, we have a grid system of streets within our city, and in some cases, maybe we want to consider alternate means of use of those public right-of-way for more vibrant things, such as people hanging out, enjoying themselves on a nice evening, a lot warmer evening than tonight. But nevertheless, there's plenty of opportunities out there that have been identified within the plan, and I guess these are the different goals. Sort of broken down into land use, economic development, transportation, housing, parks, open space, utilities and community facilities, intergovernmental cooperation, and then the big three emphasis points to grow West Allis to 70,000 by 2045, 5,000 housing units, about 2 persons per house, roughly, 20% of the units being all income, something for everybody, and then adding 2,000 jobs by 2045. So we have all the building blocks. We're really just looking to launch West Allis even further as a destination of choice for the future. So Jack, I know you've got a few more slides in here, but you know the plan quite well. If there's anything, if we want to open up for discussion, if there's any parts of the plan that you have questions on, or why are we here, why are we doing this, or we're all ears. It might be better just to sort of interact at this point, or Jack, I don't know if you have anything additional you want to throw in. But
I actually went and started looking at it. It's a big document.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I saw was like, I was like, it's nice. More green. It's more good for the pedestrians and people around the neighborhood. So yeah, I saw a lot of the different intersections that you guys were going to do with that, and so yeah, myself looking at the whole thing was definitely good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I was impressed with the biking. You're going to put in more bike lanes to make it safer for people.
Yeah, and that's something that we want to. We want this to be not something that is unguided. This is something that we want to view with our strategic plan, annual budget, capital improvement planning, and we want to make sure that, well, nothing's planned yet. We want to make sure that we work with our engineering department and all other necessary departments to kind of guide this growth in a forward way that is like bike friendly. We did have that goal of 20 miles of protected bike lanes, which
That would be great.
which is pretty good. We already have a few on the deck with engineering proposals. We have 2 right now, so that's potentially helping out with the comprehensive plan for our goal. So, but yeah, we want it to be a fully collaborative effort, and then something that's guided too at the same time.
One of the questions I had when I was looking at that, so are we trying to take the businesses and just kind of more or less combine them in the main streets
So
instead of spreading them all over? Because that's what I think I saw one of them. One of the things was
Yeah, so I think you might be referencing, are you referencing the future land use, how it shows,
It's all red.
okay, yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking.
I have the
I don't know what
plan.
the,
Oh,
It's
sure,
in
yeah,
the-
yeah.
it might be on page 47.
Okay, don't make us all feel bad now.
Yeah.
47, okay.
Oh, that page, yeah. Those are my favorites.
Good read, good.
Was that it?
We'll test it to see if it is 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
I just want to take a moment
Yeah,
while
we're
we're loading this up to thank staff too. Steve and your team did just a ton of work, and the community for weighing
Looks
in
really
and taking
nice,
part
I
in it.
think.
And it's just getting very well received. It's being very well received as well. A lot of social media love.
And
So-
we appreciate council's support, and plan commission support for that matter. I mean, it's, you know, without a supportive body of, you know, leaders
No,
such as
keep
yourselves, I mean, we
going.
probably wouldn't have the opportunity to do this kind of stuff. I mean, we'd be limited. So thank you for all your support.
Oh, maybe it's down. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, there's multiple sections which it could be, but all in all, so your point was connecting,
Maybe
like creating main streets. Just let me know if there's a spot that you want to stop at.
yeah, I think it's.
Getting close to the end.
But so
I mean, it had to have been one of the maps. Maybe it wasn't.
yeah, I don't know. In a closer look, I'm sure we'll find it right after the meeting ends. But,
So is that what we're trying to do in
So-
2020 for the 2045?
So with the population growth, we hopefully can attract new businesses, and then like a good model is Beecher Street, around 65th Street or
Right.
65th to like 70th and
Just all
around
the
that
way through,
corridor.
right?
Yeah, that's a good example of what we see like main streets could be in West Dallas. Not necessarily just fully stocked with businesses, because we still want to have the support of like a customer base, because not every business can be filled. Not every business space can be filled and activated by customers. But with the smart growth opportunities and then support from our economic development team, we hope we can bring what happens on Beecher Street to other corridors. Maybe that's 60th and Burnham or one of those corridors. So that's what we kind of see it as.
Any other? Wayne?
Thank you. We've had a slow but steady downward drift in populations for some time. I worked on prior comprehensive plans, and I don't think we've ever had a population target, a goal. How did we come up with the 70,000? And did anyone look at what the impact would be on city services to support another 10,000 people?
Yeah, so 10,000 came to be just because of West Dallas's former growth, our former population peak around 70,000 numerous decades ago. But with this plan, since it is so future focused, we hope that we can guide it strategically, whether that's through a comprehensive like infrastructure assessment on what needs are being currently strained or what needs might be strained in the future, whether that's water, healthcare, streets. That's something that we want to do in the future to help guide this growth forward if we do receive the population growth. And we already are receiving redevelopment proposals, and our population has stabilized rather than dipped down. So hopefully we see an upward trend. But like you said, we want to make sure that we aren't straining existing infrastructure within the city. And that's something that we have to collaborate with all departments on, whether that's engineering for road design, DPW for water and sewer facilities. We really want to help guide it forward in a strategic way rather than let it be uncontrolled growth.
A concern I have, and by the way, I think you've done a great job, a lot of good data, is, and we don't control a school system, but from everything I hear, that's just a drag on our city. And I don't know how we're going to get that school system, get that on board to support what we're trying to do. I mean, we need the school system. It's got to be viewed as first rate, but I don't think it's viewed that way.
Yeah,
It'll be
that's
interesting to see if this next referendum goes up in flames or it gets embraced.
Yeah, that perception was echoed in our community engagement. But like you said, we can't control directly what the school district does. But hopefully, through actions like the referendum, that might help the school district become less of a barrier towards growth. Because, like you said, I do think it kind of drives young families away from staying in West Dallas, and that's a huge detractor for our population. So that's something that I am hopeful will pass, hopefully, but that is a barrier towards growth that we recognize in the plan. So, but we do want to collaborate further with the school district, whether that's through supporting the recreation department's need for an additional recreation center. That's something that kind of builds our community up, and maybe that's an amenity more important to a young family than a high-performing school that's in a very expensive housing market at the same time. So, it is a tough situation, but by 2045, I hope that we can be guided better with more positive outlook towards the school district. But I don't know if you have any comments, Steve.
I think you hit it on the head. That's a good point, Wayne, because we've heard the same thing, like Jack mentioned, and it's something that has to be addressed, talked about, and you're right. We'll see what the referendum brings, and
Well, the referendum may only bring higher taxes.
that is a possibility. Sure, yeah.
Couple things. So what we're looking at is the school district from 10 years ago, and that's what everybody keeps talking about. The school district today has A+ rating for their finances.
Bonding, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it went from a C or whatever to an A+. You got a new superintendent that is really out there and active, Dr. Robinson, right? So he is so active in everything, in every single school. Grades are you see that the grades are going up, and if you're worried about increased in taxes, right now, the New Berlin School District is literally taking houses from our school district and putting it in their school district.
That's that move of 80 houses over to Hoover.
Right. Well, there's another 2 coming, and then they're expecting it to be in a big,
Sure.
everybody's going to do it. The problem is those houses have a great tax base.
Yeah.
Right. They're gone. We're not getting them back. That's what's driving the tax rates up, is that. In fact, our mill rate from the last couple of years went from 10 to 6, which is, whatever, per dollar per student on that. So the school district has actually gotten way better. But we just hear from what happened 10 years ago. Not the same superintendent, not the same school board. In fact, it's 2 superintendents removed and 3 school boards removed. So I think that's what, it's just that old thing that keeps getting hashed up over and over and over again. It's not even close to what it was 10 years ago. So that's just my opinion. I know a little bit more about that than in depth wise.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? We need to approve this.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Is that it?
Yeah, our project tracking wasn't. There's
yeah.
nothing changed.
The Freely building's coming out of the ground quite quickly. If you haven't been past 85th and National, the elevator, I think the elevator shaft has started, and some of the foundation, they've got the hole dug for the underground parking, so that's quite impressive to see. Chris Hansen on 92nd and Lapham Mitchell there. Their addition is it's up. I mean, it's skinned and moving forward, so that's great to see.